All right, you ready?
I think so.
But for real this time?
For real.
Oh, got to click the things, click the buttons, be ready. And 3, 2, 1.
Sun's coming up and the road's wide open. Lace 'em up, big dreams unspoken. Laugh till it hurts with miles to go. So run far, build it slow. Chasing down a brighter horizon. You and me in a road unknown. Building horizons. Let's go!
Welcome to Build Horizons, a show about picking the life you want to lead and how to make it happen. I'm Jeff, that's Katy. And Katy, to kick things off today, I have a question.
What?
Because I mean, we're gonna get into the what even this is, and why we're doing it, and other things about our crazy selves and crazy lives. But before we do that, I feel like we should answer a question: who the heck are you?
Who the heck am I? Okay, my name's Katy, as you know. So Jeff, you've been asking to do this for a while, and it's tremendously out of my comfort zone. So I just kept saying, I don't think so. I don't think I'm interesting. I don't think I need to do this. But here we are. We're starting a podcast. So I'm Katy, and how much detail should I go into with who I am?
I guess right off the top. So what are the handful of things that you feel like if you had to condense yourself down into a single list of 5 things, what do you feel like those 5 things would be?
Sure. Okay.
And we don't have to get too serious. But what are the things you enjoy doing?
Okay. So yeah. So we have 2 children. So I'm a mother, and they're so fun. Kids are so much fun. I love the ages that we're at right now.
I feel like you just blew past it. So yeah, we're married.
We're married. We've been married for 15 years. We just hit our 15th wedding anniversary. Yay us.
Yep.
But yeah, we have 2 kiddos, and they're really fun and cool. And they are 7 and 9, almost 10, almost double digits, which is bizarre to my brain, but such is life. I know it goes fast.
You've ran for a long time.
Yep.
Girl.
Just a few things about me too. I have been running more for just like healthy lifestyle, nothing too serious at all. And yeah, I like to work out. I think it's fun, and I like to push myself, see what I'm capable of. And I know something that obviously, as the intro showed, like we've done some races together, kind of been on a little bit of a journey on that, which I know we're going to get way more into. I love reading books. We love reading different books though.
Yeah. Well,
we'll get into that.
I'm sure. So I'll do my part now. So I'm Jeff, and I'm married to that one. Lots of things that we will definitely want to get into on the pod, but myself, I've big aspirations. I am a creative person at heart. I like making things. I think that is at the core of why I want to do this. Is I really have a lot of fun in the creative process. I think that there's a lot of stuff that I've learned through the course of my life on how to make big changes, to make, like I said at the top, picking that life that you want to lead, and not just going down the path that you are going down because that's the path that you're going down, and that's the path that feels comfortable or that you've made comfortable. It's hard to make change, but it's less complicated than I had thought, and it's way more possible than I had thought, especially a younger version of myself. As far as other things, in the last few years, I've become a runner. I've gotten a lot healthier during that time. I have a job that I love, but that said, though, I really love making things. I love working, so. A lot of what we've done with our business and the things that surround that, that takes up a lot of time. I used to play a lot of video games and stuff like that. It's definitely a thing I enjoy, but not a thing that I have done much of at all. I mean, other than like the occasional thing with our son, I really don't spend any time doing video games, things like that. Whereas I used to, that was just kind of a thing to pass time. But yeah, so right now my time when I'm not at work and all the things that is, my hobby, so to speak, is also just working more, which sounds crazy, but this is like the most happiest season I've ever personally been, the most fulfilling part of my life to date, and I'm having a lot of fun doing it. So while I do wake up and the first thing I do is work and the last thing I do before I go to bed is work, I still am having a lot of fun. But yeah, so I guess to transition us a little bit, I'd like to talk about why it is that we're making this, and what are some things about this that would help someone know, like, is this the sort of thing that I would be interested in listening to?
Yeah, I think that's definitely something. Like, what does Build Horizons mean, and how did we land on that, and what are things that we're going to be talking about? Like, who are we making this for? I do think, like you mentioned, is change and making those big steps in your life kind of felt really hard and impossible. And I know I'm guilty of feeling very stuck and not able to make the steps or take the steps necessary to have big changes in my life and to build upon those. And I do think that, I don't know, especially watching you, Jeff, and I know, like, as you said, you're a really creative person and you love to create things, which is part of the reason why we're doing this together. But being on the outside and watching you go through some building blocks of your life and changing so many things has been really cool. And I do think, I'm like, I don't want to keep this story just for us. Like, I think a lot of people could benefit from it. So anyways, yeah, I think, like, who are we making this for? And like, who will want to listen to this podcast? Yeah.
And I mean, if you're completely happy and content with exactly where you are, then this is probably not for you. I mean, because really what it is, I want to, like, when I look at myself in 5 years from now, how would I describe that? And how would I envision that being if everything goes well? Or, like, what are some of the good outcomes that the next 5 years could bring? And then it's like, how do I have that vision and then make that be reality? And a lot of it is the not sexy work of doing the day-to-day and the process of doing it and falling in love with that, and being okay with stuff that takes a long time to achieve, and kind of being willing to do stuff that doesn't make a lot of sense in the moment. And people might think you're crazy. You might think that you're crazy. I know I certainly have felt that way at times. But what you get to is a place where that's okay. Like, I can start a podcast with my wife, and we can do that sitting in our basement with this cool little thing that we've built, and we can do that on episode 1. And right now, it doesn't make a lick of sense. Spoiler: like, nothing makes a lick of sense when you're first starting out. I can just real quick, I could share a little bit about, like, how I started running, and I think maybe that gives like a good synopsis of what I'm talking about when both on how to make it happen, but also what the process feels like.
Well, and, like, I just want to say too, like, I am in general such a risk adverse person. Like, I don't like risk. I like comfortable. I like comfort zones. And even, like, really doing this podcast together, like, is me building something here. It's me. I mean, I know you're going to get into your story, and it'll be so interesting and fun to see where this goes, like, even for myself. And I know, like, right now we have so many things we're building on and have so much fun to talk about. But yeah, I think even as episode 1, like just understanding like this is what I'm building on, and typically like very risk adverse person stepping out and doing this thing with her husband. So I think it'll be really fun to see that, and like also like hearing what you've already managed to achieve through this process and this mindset of I know you were going to get into running, but I feel like there's like so many ripple effects too of like how this mindset has like literally changed your life, changed our lives.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, I would like talk about, I always think it's so fun to hear your story of how you started running.
It is a little bit ridiculous, but like I'm curious. I don't know that I've asked this specifically to you before, but like what was the experience from your perspective?
When you said you were going to run?
Yeah.
Okay, well, do you want me to just like jump right in? And
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh. Okay. Well, I've always, like I said, I've always been a runner, but I've always just done like little 5Ks or maybe a 10K, but 10K was like really pushing it for me. And, but like in general, I'd run a couple times a week, few times a week, like 3 miles, like just to stay like healthy. And I have a lot of heart disease in my family, so it was something like I've always been pretty mindful of like, okay, I gotta be mindful of my cardiovascular health. But anyways, so I had just signed up with a friend to do a half marathon for the first time, and I don't even think I had started training yet. But you were a little bit like skeptical of the amount of training that was going to take. Like, and like I had, mentioned like, oh my goodness, like what would it be like to run a full marathon? And you're like, that would take way too much time. Like, can you imagine how many hours of running you would have to do? And I'm like, yeah, it would be a lot.
That would be a lot. What kind of crazy person would sign themselves up for such a thing?
Like, Katie, you'd be running for like 4 hours a day or a week. And like, I don't know, not a day. That would be crazy. But, anyway, so had just signed up. I think I had just signed up. I don't think I had like, I don't know. I can't really remember the fine details.
You had just signed up.
Yeah. And so then I was working from home, like, because as I do, I work from home. I didn't mention that in my little intro that,
Not super relevant.
Right. Yeah. But I was working. I just remember working. And
Katie identifies as someone who works from home.
Yes, exactly.
It's one of her top 5 things.
Yes, one of my top 5. I don't even think I got through 5, but that's fine.
1.5.
Anyways, so you came down and you were honestly kind of emotional. And I do think we'll probably have some tears on this podcast eventually because Jeff does. He's very in touch with
You're just going to out me like that?
Yeah.
How did you just say that? I'm very in touch with my emotions.
Your emotions.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm very in touch with my emotions.
Yeah.
And my emotions are cry.
Anyways, so then I don't know. I just remember I was working and you came down, you were a little emotional, and you started telling me about a video that you had watched that had really inspired you. And I think then we actually went and watched the video together, and you were like, I'm going to start running. And I'm like, yeah. And you were like, I did it. I signed up for Prairie Fire. And I was like, cause there's like different like races in Prairie Fire. I'm like the 2 mile or like the 5K. You're like, no, the half marathon. And I was a little bit like, oh, like, okay, here we go. Like I was a little skeptical because I knew how much you hated running.
Yeah. I mean, and I did.
Viscerally hated running.
Yeah, pretty lifelong advocate that people who run long distance or just endurance athletes in general are crazy people. Still not entirely sure that was a misheld belief. But yeah, I did. It was, I watched a random Casey Neistat video, and it was about him running. And I've always found the idea or the allure of like people who do that to be really fascinating. Like, and I feel like inspired by it, but I could never like picture myself as a person who would run. Like I hated it. I remember a lot of times, like during the beginning days of the pandemic, I was trying to lose a little bit of weight, and I would go on the treadmill. And if I could walk at a pace on just enough of an incline that I could burn 100 calories per 10 minutes or something like that. I can't remember what the exact number were, but like I know 163 output was what resulted in the amount of calories that I wanted to burn. And I just, it's like, how could I achieve what I want to achieve, in this case, losing weight, by doing the absolute least amount of physical effort humanly possible? Like that was my mentality, because anything beyond that was just unfathomably uncomfortable, unfathomably not what I was going to be doing. But I always I wanted to be the person who would do that. Like, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. Like, there's a big difference though between wanting something and then actually pursuing that long term.
Yeah.
And so there were times where I would want to be in shape, or I'd want to work out, and I would for about as long as my willpower would last. And sometimes that would be like a day. Sometimes that would be a week or a month, maybe. Typically, though, it was a lot closer to the day. And so I would have all these big things, and I would I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do this thing. But it wasn't actually aligned with my beliefs and my priorities and the things that I actually that were a part of my identity. It was just something that I wanted.
Yeah.
But I didn't want it in the way that I want to be laying around and being lazy and stuff. Like I really wanted to do that more. And so that's what I would do. So I watched this video and I'm like, oh man, I want to be the person who does this. And so I signed myself up. So there's some commitment there. I have some skin in the game.
Right. Yeah.
And then I went on a run, and I ran, I think 2.5 miles, if I recall. I'd have to go back and look at the recording of that run, but
which we do have. You had video blogged kind of the journey of this, which I thought was so vulnerable, because I remember thinking oh, I don't want him to go back and look at these videos and if he doesn't make it and feel that regret, but also however many years, 3 years down the road, I'm oh my gosh, I'm so glad we have those to go back and look at. Yeah. And to reflect on.
Yeah. And it is cool. I do have every single one of those miles at the beginning, I have either the recording of me running on the treadmill, or I have, the recording on my watch as I went for a run, and stuff like that. So I have a lot of data, and a lot of, a lot of that time is captured, which is really, really neat.
Yeah.
But yeah, I ran that 2.5 miles, and I remember thinking what the flying frick did I sign myself up for? Because I signed up for a half marathon.
Yeah.
Prior to actually running more than a single mile. And so when I went on that run, and it was a really windy day, and it was truly miserable, as running is. It is a miserable experience, especially when you're first starting out.
Oh, it's such a hard sport. It's such a hard activity to just jump into, literally. And that was what you did. There was no, gosh, I'm trying to even think, had you done anything that tough in years? Maybe high school?
Yeah, I mean, it had certainly been a long time.
Yeah,
I was well and properly out of shape. But the thing that I did though, and the reason why I stayed with it was, for one, I had signed myself up for something, and I'm a little bit stubborn, and so I'm going to try to follow through with something if I commit to it, and I do have that sense of obligation. And so even if it is as silly as well, I'm going to have wasted $120 and feel silly to my wife, that's enough to at least get me part of the way there. But the other thing about that was, I spent my free time became the pursuit of knowledge on running. How do people do, what do people do with running? How do they become good? What are the stuff learning about shoes and fueling and really just surrounding myself with that knowledge, because if you're a runner, those are the sort of things that runners do. They have some sort of knowledge about their thing.
Right.
And so I I poured myself into that. I found a couple things online that I enjoyed following. Found a podcast I like listening to. I read like I don't know, probably 10 books.
Yeah, you like fully immersed yourself.
Fully immersed myself, and
Yeah.
I've learned that lesson in myself on how do I change my identity, or how do I change like my core beliefs.
And I think too, I know we're kind of talking about running, but you had, and you know, we're going to have lots of podcast episodes, but there had been a journey that you had been down already, changing this about yourself.
Yeah.
So this was something like you had done before. And so you knew it was possible. And one thing I think we really epically failed at like explaining to however many people watch this.
Thousands,
Yeah.
if not millions.
Yeah, right. So we have actually been together since I was 15 and Jeff was 16 years old, which I know is like not a normal thing. So I think like we have literally grown up together. So like I've seen so much of Jeff's journey. He's seen so much of mine. And so I know you mentioned that you're a very stubborn person. And so like I can attest to that. Like
thank you.
are a very stubborn person, but sometimes that has equaled to be a very, very good thing.
Yeah. And like I guess to take a step back.
Yeah.
So at the top of the show, I talked about me being a creative person and I have big aspirations. And so to add the context that Katie's talking about, I kind of numbed that through alcohol, like, and that became my default. So like I have these big aspirations, I have all these things I want to do. I'm not able to make it happen. The thing that makes that feel better is this drug. And like that was my path for many, many years.
Yeah.
And so when I fixed that problem, that was through very similar things I just talked about with running, which is
Right.
like,
Yeah.
I'm going to listen to podcasts. I'm going to read 1,000 books because like I had tried other paths through that. And it really came down to like, what do I really like in my core believe? And I believed that I couldn't make that change. I believed that was a part of me that was unchangeable, that it was immutable. And in reality, all these things that we are malleable people. Like our core beliefs can change. The things that we find most important can be modified. And then it just becomes as easy as just doing what I want to do.
Yeah.
And so like I applied those lessons to running and did very much the similar thing of like, I'm going to find some podcasts that I love and I'm going to listen to a whole backlog of episodes about running. And I'm going to read a ton of books. I'm going to look online for anything that anybody has ever mentioned about a book that they've liked. And I'm going to buy it on Audible. And it's going to cost me $200 worth of Audible credits. But if it is even 10% helpful, it is worth its weight in gold. And so I did. I mean, I don't know, probably 10 is underselling it. I probably listened to like 15, 20 books.
Yeah.
Which is just kind of how do I do things. But like that whole process is actually, like, again, to kind of go back to the top, that's kind of why we're doing this is I think that in general, those lessons learned and the path forward that you can make in life is predicated by learning how to change those core beliefs.
Yeah.
And I think part of that it could be listening to this show. And, if we could help one person take that step toward that path that they would like for themselves to build that new horizon, to use the name of our show. I think that absolutely all of this is worth it. Every dollar we spent on the silly shelf ornaments and these mics and all of these fancy cameras and all that would be worth it if we can help people do this.
Yeah. And I think, I want to, put it like a disclaimer. We're not professionals. We're not like therapists, but this is what we have found has just been so helpful in our own lives. And if like just hearing our experiences can, help somebody, I think that is so important, because I do definitely think with this show, we want to be real and vulnerable and talk about things that are hard sometimes, but like important. So yeah, I just want to like say we're definitely not like professionals and like if, mental health, like go get, all the help that you need. But like, I do think there's a lot of change that can happen when you do what Jeff has done and had immersed himself in those, like wanting to be those changes.
Yeah. And first off, speak for yourself. I have a psychology degree, so I do know what I'm talking about.
Oh, okay.
Second off, I also want to acknowledge, like, my way of changing core beliefs is, it's not like it is applicable to every single person on the planet. I do think that there's a lot of people who benefit from this style of, changing behavior through changing beliefs. But, also there's people in the world like yourself who go through life and they're like, well, I should run because it makes me healthy or whatever. And then they just do that. And which is a superpower unto itself. I don't really understand how that works. Maybe you can help me and help others magically just have the ability to decide, like, yeah, I'm just going to have a clean house. And that's just what I'm going to do for the entirety of my life.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, wait, was that like a question? And you want me to like expand on that a little bit? Because
I'm not sure.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, so I am definitely more of a disciplined person. And I think that has played.
What does it mean to be a disciplined person? I don't even understand. Like, how do you be, like, they're just born that way and that's just what you want? I think
sometimes, I think there are people that, like, in general are just more disciplined. It probably had, a little bit to do with how they were raised and what their families did. And I was definitely, I feel like I always grew up in, like you said, a clean house. Like, that is important to me. And sure, we had like the messes, but in general, like, I feel like we always lived pretty cleanly.
Okay, sure. But you didn't like grow up as a runner. Like, you didn't grow up in a family of athletes.
That's true. That's very true.
Like, lifelong, going out and picking their sport and doing their thing until, into adulthood and stuff like that. So, and in fact, like, even growing up through school, like, you did some sports stuff, but not a lot.
Really.
And certainly not to the extent that you did after you were out of school. So what,
I started doing, like you said, I definitely did not grow up in like a very sports heavy home, which I know like a lot of people are. But when I'm trying to really remember, like, I ran in high school a little bit, but I don't know. I don't really have like a strong recollection of like the desire of what I do when I hit like college. So it's kind of funny, like you said, like, part of my identity is I work from home. Well, I also like did all my college online, which I'm like, maybe I need to get out more. But I remember in college, I went and did some group exercise classes. I think it was cycle.
Yeah.
And I thought it was so much fun. Like, and like I said, I didn't really have the like sports, like I didn't do much sports, so I never had really felt that like adrenaline competition that I got from like a group cycle class. So I don't know, I think I was drawn to that a little bit, just the fun environment of doing that. So I do remember like that was kind of my first stepping block into living a more healthy lifestyle, was getting into like group exercise. And honestly, then at that point, I kind of just started like different ones. Like, I remember trying like turbo kick, and I don't even know what it's called now, but I remember thinking that was so fun. So I don't know. I think that was kind of how I got into it. Is I branched out. I tried something like I'd never tried group exercise before. Literally, like, signed up for the gym, and just went by myself and tried it. And I don't know. I don't
like unfathomable for me to do.
I don't know. I just thought it sounded like fun. And then I really, really, really loved it. And like, I really found instructors that I felt like could push me. And I think that's the other thing too, is like feeling like my body was strong, like it's stronger than you realize. Which even I'm still learning today. And like, I know one thing we haven't really talked about is like the building blocks of what we're doing for our running future and like what we're doing. And like right now, I don't know, I'm sure we'll talk more and more about it, but we're training for Sydney Marathon. We ran a few marathons, just ran one not too long ago. And so like still even now, I feel like I'm learning what in the heck my body is capable of. But it's fun, but hard. Like, and sometimes the hard sucks. Like sometimes like I don't want to work that hard. And sometimes like even now, like I'll occasionally go to a cycle class and I'm like, oh my gosh, like why am I doing this? But it's like that after of like, man, like I worked so hard and like that's the difference maker, I think.
So to go back to the motivation that you get through group exercise, why do you feel like that specifically for your personality type is something that it helps keep you down that path? Like, is that like, what about that keeps you there? What do you enjoy? Like, is it the just hanging out with other people?
I think it's,
like,
yeah, it's in like, well, it's like, I think when you're starting out and you don't really know what to do, you kind of have that guidance already. Like, you know, like, okay, I'm going to be instructed by like this instructor that obviously knows what they're doing. So there's a comfort level in that. So there's like, it can be a little uncomfortable walking into a class like you don't know what you're doing. And I would definitely say if you have friends, like take a friend with you. Like I just know like sometimes when I was going for the first time, like I didn't have a lot of friends that had that same drive to go do something like that. But there's definitely a comfort level with like something new and like having that instructor. And then, like I said, I think it was working hard for that however long you're going for, and then like feeling that like sense of like, wow, I worked really hard and like I feel so good. And then there's also like, I don't know, there's that like human connection of like you're working hard with like a whole group of people. Like it's not just you. Like, and you're all kind of like cheering each other on in your own like way of like, good job. Like, I know you lifted up that weight hard. I know you worked out.
Is that what you say to people? I know you lifted up that weight hard.
Yeah, I guess that's one thing people are going to learn is like I say things wrong sometimes. Like I'll like have like something like I want to say. And
I don't know
it's
what
like,
you're talking about.
It's wrong. And I'm like, wait, that wasn't what I meant. But yes. I can't. I don't think I've ever said that to somebody, but like.
Maybe you should.
Maybe I should. Maybe I should make a t-shirt.
Hey, you lifted that weight up hard. A true inspiration on the back.
On the back.
Yeah.
I don't know, but that is, I don't know, for someone like me that has the motivation kind of to do a thing that gives you like that comfort to like actually step into it.
That's interesting. I feel like the part of it that I wouldn't have guessed would be, having a trusted guide through the thing that you're talking about doing and being able to like lean on their expertise. Whereas I feel like my default would be much more so like I want to be my own coach through this. Like I want to learn all the stuff. And I find that more motivating.
Yeah. And I have like a real life example of this because like if we're shopping at the grocery store, if we're shopping at a home goods or not home goods, home like Depot or something like that. Like if there's like a thing that we cannot find or we are not sure what the thing is that we're looking for, I'm one to just go ask a very kind employee of, hey, this is what we're looking for. Can you point us in the right direction? Where you are one to search on your phone for however long it takes to find the thing in the aisle on the row before you would even dare to ask an employee for any amount of help. So that's a real life example.
I mean, I think that there's no fate worse than having to ask somebody where something is. So I'd rather die.
It's true. Oh my God.
Okay, so I don't know where on earth. We kind of
got lost in the little bit. Yeah.
We'll refocus ourselves. So like,
Reel
I want to
it
go back
back
to reeling it back in. So I want to go back to the running story. So I ran that 2.5 miles and it was terrible. And I knew though that like, first off, the start of anything is by far the hardest part. And it really is like, when you realize that it like, okay, cool. It sounded like a dream, sounded like a wonderful thing. And in reality, more than likely, like that end state probably is great. Like it probably is a great thing that you're going after. It probably is a big feeling of accomplishment to finish a half marathon. Like that was the thing I was working toward. But when you realize like to get there, it's going to be really, really, really hard. And it's going to be really, really, really hard for the foreseeable future. And it's like when you realize like, okay, this is going to be hard. And I've felt how it's going to be hard. It's no more of like, well, that's going to be tough. I'm like looking at this training plan. I'm gonna have to run all these miles. And that does seem like a lot. And then you go out and do it and you're like, holy frick. Yep. It's every bit as hard and harder than I was anticipating. How do you figure out a way to still show up, to still do it? And like, that's the magic. So, to me, like how I do that is, the people that run marathons are the sort of people who can make their way through that. And so what, my path toward changing that about myself and becoming that person is to surround myself with as much, just trying to pound it into my head through listening to things, reading things, learning things, looking things up. And eventually I became a runner. Like now I identify as that. In fact, really, really early on, I would call myself a runner, even though I had ran like 10 miles total in the last, decade. But I chose that was going to be my identity. And then it's just a matter of making that true, which is a lot of freaking work.
And I think like too, a lot of people, start the new year with wanting that too, like a New Year's resolution. How is this like different? How is this mindset different from like new year, new you?
Yeah, this is great. I didn't even think about this as we were kind of going through and talking about some stuff that we might potentially cover. I think it's human nature to love the idea of a New Year's resolution.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to do these 5 things and this one thing, and it's going to completely change my life. And then I don't know what the actual statistic is, but it is obviously incredibly low that anybody sticks with that. To the extent that it may as well be 0. And I think that is probably the least effective way to make a lasting change, because going back to the top, it's just an exercise in talking about what you want and to see how far your willpower can take you. And spoiler, it almost never is far enough that it sticks as a lasting thing about your life. So, really all it is, like if you're like, I'm going to eat healthy and lose weight and I'm going to do it on January 1st, and I'm going to see how long that lasts. And what you find out is not how much weight you can lose. You find out how long it is that you can have a willpower carry you. And then ultimately there's going to be like, oh man, I'm off work because it's a holiday and I'm going to go eat breakfast with my friend. And like, oh man, I ate 1,000 calories for breakfast. Well, I'll just eat a lighter lunch. And then lunch rolls around and I'm like, I'm freaking hungry again. And I'm going to eat that. And then dinner rolls around. Like I blew my thing and I was not supposed to have a cheat day, but like it's just an extra cheat day. And then like it just like snowballs out of control. And now we're right back to where we were. And so I feel like, yeah, New Year's resolution is just like an exercise in how much can your willpower take you? And it's never to that destination of where you actually want to go. And so how I feel about this and why I feel like the way that I have introduced lasting change in my life is different is, for one, there's no distance between I think of it as a good idea and I'm going to start pursuing it. And what I specifically what I mean by that is I don't freaking wait until the weekend to start the thing. I signed up like the second that I decided like I'm gonna freaking be a runner and I'm gonna figure out how to make that happen, I signed up for the half marathon.
Yeah.
Like, and that's crazy. Like, no, that doesn't make any amount of sense. But a lot of these really hard things are never going to make sense when you start. And the hardest thing is just to start. And like, to be honest, like if you are going to be a runner, then you start running today. And hard stop. Like there is not going to be something that's going to change between now and January 1st that's going to make it so much easier to do. All you're doing is wasting time. And if you want to get to a goal and you're going to defer the start date to some arbitrary cutoff, like I'll start on Monday, or I'm going to start on Saturday, or I'm going to start after my birthday or when I turn X years old. Like that, just do the thing. Like just get going. That is also how, we have the bravely.dev thing over here, which I can't make the camera switch to the third view, but there
it is.
That one. But yeah, so, we started down the path of our business very much that way of like, it went from idea to all in for like 130 straight days now, of make the thing happen.
Right.
And there was no like, okay, well, I'll wait till the summer and the kids are out of school, so we'll have a little bit more time in the summer,
Right.
or we'll wait till after the marathon because we'll have more time because we won't be spending as much time on long runs, or whatever, and so I'll have more weekend. It's like I'm starting now immediately. And because, I have aspirations for what my future looks like. I've always wanted to have this thing.
So I have a question for you. So like for me, and I know I mentioned this, is like, I'm a planner. I am a meticulous, like, it's so funny too, because you are such a spontaneous person. Like, I can't even tell you how many times you've had an idea and we just go do it. Like, it's so like I've had to like learn to like just be okay with that. But for someone like me that is a planner and I want to make sure I have all my ducks in a row, and like day one to day feels really hard. Like, how do you navigate that side of things? Because even like, the business and Bravely and like still even now I'm like, how did that even get started? I don't even like, it just did. And, you've done this enough times that you're kind of like, getting to be like really good at starting things. But like for someone like me, it's still really hard.
Yeah. So like, is the question, how do you
like for someone like that wants to have it really planned out, really thought through, really like intentional about it, like rather than just like, all right, go now.
So, and you'll have to help me through this because I don't have the same, like you mentioned, like I am not risk averse.
Right.
I'm fine. Like if you want me to sell the house, sell the cars, put it all into something, like I'm going to do it. And that's obviously, I understand that I'm a little bit crazy in that sense. But at the same time, I think, at least from my perception, a lot of people who don't start, who are not okay, like they need to know like all the XYZ factors of a thing. Just at least, again, from my perspective, it feels like just fear.
Right.
Like
and like
it's
overthinking.
It's going to be real hard. And what if I'm not perfect with it and I need to I'm going to look silly, or people are going to judge me, or there's XYZ, just like bad thing that could happen, bad thing that could happen, bad thing that could happen, bad thing that could happen. And where my like mindset has shifted, and to be clear, like even that even for me has held me back at times. And like if I could go back and I had like one thing I could tell my younger self is like those fears are never as bad as what reality actually is.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, sure, occasionally maybe there's something that's like, wow, yep, that was something that was avoidable. And
Hindsight's 2020.
Hindsight's 2020. But I would say 99 times out of 100, those fears, even if they like that thing that you were worried about happens, it's like, oh, well, frick, that was nothing. That was not a big deal. And so and I also feel very fortunate because like I've had people tell me those things, and even though I'm stubborn and I don't think through that in the moment, in hindsight, like going back and learning from that wisdom of it's going to be okay, it's going to be fine, you're going to learn along the way, and it like failure isn't a terminal condition. Failure is an opportunity to take what you've learned and bounce to the next thing. So yeah, that I would say overthinking things is almost never helpful.
Right. Yeah.
I think you will learn more doing a podcast with your husband and just doing it and getting into it than you'll ever like learn from talking through it and pre-planning and getting perfect. Because the thing is like you're already better at being a podcaster now than any amount of time that we've talked about it in the past. And that's true of any big thing that you're wanting to go and do. We talk about the business. Like I really love our little software development business that we've built. But I am I don't even know 10,000 times more knowledgeable about how that works than I was 4 months ago. And that comes from a person whose career is in tech leadership stuff. Like I come from this. But diving into it and having to be responsible for all the things, from everything from setting up HR stuff all the way through to fulfillment and like marketing. I mean that's like a real big thing that I am learning about and actively trying to become better at. But like I am so much better now than I was 4 months ago. I've learned so much.
Yeah.
And it really just comes from like, you just got to do it. You have to have the life experience.
I do think it's that. It's like, you just got to do it. It's scary. Like it literally, like to think for someone like me, still to even think of like this big, I don't even know, like just this big thing that we have this big dream for. It's like so cool to think about it. And then it's also so scary. I don't know how else to describe it, but
yeah. What about it is scary? Do you feel like?
I think it's the risk. It's like, it's the failure. And like, I think that's something like I've gone to therapy for is like this fear of failure and, like being okay with that and like having, which, and I think one thing I would love to talk, maybe this isn't the week to do it, but, is like having, like, it's okay to fail. And like, I have you to like help me through that failure. And like, how do people navigate failure, I guess, on their own? And then how do they like, what are some good ways to like get, like have somebody there, and I feel so lucky because I have you. And I know that's not the situation for everybody. But yeah, I think for me, it is that scariness of failure. And I have had to do some like big growth, and I'm still like, I mean, I'm still growing in that of like being even in my like own job and us starting the company together of like, not everything's going to be perfect, and that's okay. Like learn from that. And like, it is the human experience to have moments that are not going to go exactly as you planned. And that is, I mean, that's going to happen, and that's okay.
Yeah, I think one thing that I've had the biggest shift with regard to failure is I would say like the thing that I would want to always avoid, and I said this a second ago, but like it's never as bad as you think.
Yeah,
and also failure. Truly, like in the things that you're afraid of, like the things that you would define failure as, which is like I'm not going to meet my goal. That is an inevitable outcome. Like we are absolutely going to fail. Like either you're going to fail because you gave up or you never tried, and you just get the failure by default, and you're going to have to live with that, or you're going to try something and maybe you knock it out of the park this time, and that's great. Good job. You're lucky. But the reality of it is more often than not, you're going to have stuff that didn't go as planned. It's not going to go as good as you would have hoped. You're going to have to learn and adjust. I mean, running is a great analog for that,
Right.
because like the number of times that I have felt confident about how a race might go or how a particular run might go is a much higher number than how many of them actually went well.
Yeah, that's very true.
And sometimes you think like, oh man, this whole training block is going to be crap, and I'm not going to be able to get to the point that I want to get to. And then you build the bricks and you build that, and you get to the point and you're like, wow, actually, you know what? This was better than I expected.
Yeah. And I think something too that helps me, and this seems a little cliche, but are some like strong mantras. And I know like sometimes if we're struggling through anything or a run, is like, if it was easy, everybody would do it. Like that's something like I repeat to myself when I'm like having a hard moment. And I think that you could say that, you know, even with this company and
Oh yeah. I
like
mean,
if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. And you know, like it is hard, and that's okay that it's hard. And then like there's, which I mean, I know like we, like I like to take Peloton classes and stuff, and they always say like progress, not perfection. Like that one's another one that's like really stuck with me. So I think finding those mantras too that like resonate with you is, I think, important, because it's just a few words, but like can have lasting impact.
Yeah.
You know?
I think one thing that I also have seen reframed is, and actually what you hit on is exactly the thing, is nowadays I almost get excited when some new challenge arises that makes me feel like, oh my gosh, I just want to give up. Because every time that I feel that, I know that other people have that same like hurdle in front of them. I don't mean that in a bad way, but like I am also a competitive person. Like, and I want to do a good job.
Yeah.
And the harder that the road is, that means that there's going to be fewer people at the top. And so like, and maybe that's a little messed up, but like I think that I now look at that as an exciting thing, because I'm not going to give up. Like I know I'm going to keep going. I'm going to figure this out. And that means it's just going to be that much harder for anybody else to do the same thing. Yeah. And it's honestly like that's the blessing that not knowing all of this at the beginning has, because if I would know all the things that I was going to have to figure out a solution to, I wouldn't have started the business.
Right.
It would have been like way too insurmountable, and way too stressful to think about all those things. But you don't face them all at once. You face them one at a time, or a handful at a time. But yeah, like right now, one silly thing is one of the apps that we built, it got pulled from our payment processor. They don't allow us to do that sort of thing. And so now I'm going to have to figure out another payment processor, which is a whole freaking thing. And to have to go through that is not anything that I wanted to have to spend time on. But the hidden blessing in all that is that I am now going to not be dependent. The company will not be dependent upon a single payment processor's whims to our ability to sell things to customers. Like we're going to have an alternative thing with that. And then also through that process, the ability to make lemonade out of this lemon of a situation, which is, hey, you know what? Screw it. I'm fine. I can't sell it. Great. I'm just going to give it away. And we're going to use that as an opportunity to have some people know about us that wouldn't have known about us otherwise. They can get some value from it. I can't sell it to them anyhow. And then maybe they take that goodwill and consider us next time they have some other software need.
Right.
And yeah, that's a great thing. And I'll learn some marketing things along the way through that process. Going to build out some infrastructure to be able to give stuff away and be able to keep track of all that stuff. And so, yeah, was it a hurdle that I had to go through? Absolutely. Would I take it back now? I wouldn't. We are set up better with the business because of that thing that I did not want to have happen. And like that feeling in my stomach when I got that email of like all your money's on hold, and you can't sell this thing. And it was like, holy, like what the frick? Like this is I just like you catastrophize. And in the first like 3 minutes that happened, it was like the world got a little darker around the outside of it. And you're just like, how am I ever going to figure this out? And then it's just like, well, I just one thing at a time. Like I can't go back in time and fix this. And so now it's just what do we need to do to make our path now that I know these new facts? And how do I learn how to avoid this next time? Which is quite honestly, there's disclosures that you have to read. Like they have acceptable use policies for a reason. And I 100% was in violation of that. They had every right to shut me down for what had happened. And, so that's another lesson.
Yeah.
I'm not really one to read a lot of details. So perhaps that will be something I'll have to learn over the course of time, a couple times, but we are better off because of the challenge, and that's so true of so many things.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Well, we've been going for a while now. Do we want to wrap up this first episode, or did you have anything else?
I do think to really nail down the lesson from the running stuff, because while this is not a running podcast at all,
right.
It is a big thing that I think a lot of people have aspirations toward. And, I think for me, like, as I went through that, I learned a lot about how to take something that you want to do and turn that into something that is not just a New Year's resolution, 2-week thing, but rather has now been like a almost 3-year thing.
Yeah. And a few marathons under your belt.
It didn't end just at a half marathon.
Right.
It's something that continues to grow and continues to be a part of my life. And when I look out 5 years from now, and what do I want myself to be? A runner is part of that.
Yeah.
And I'm happy with the progress that I've made, and I have other things that I want down that path. But what that took for me personally was I had to make that a part of my identity, and that was through exposing myself to as much of that as possible. And maybe in a way it's more just the introvert's version of what you described with group exercise. Like maybe it's just, I needed to be exposed to like-minded people.
Mm-hmm.
I just am not one that's going to show up for a track night. Like that's just not my style. I'm okay with the occasional, running with random friends and stuff. But for me, these are internal exercises. And so I can get kind of the same benefit of seeing other people do it, but just more through books and podcasts and just engrossing myself in those sort of things.
And I think it'll be interesting too, as, we talk about that a little bit more of like what that looks like for different people. Because like for me, I feel like there are other ways, like I can do basically the same thing, but in different ways. And like exploring what that could be. Because to be honest, I don't really know, but like I think there's something there. And there's just like you said, there's introverts and extroverts, and I'm, a little bit of both, I guess. Where you're definitely a more introvert, and I think there are really unique ways, like, and like that's the thing too, is like it's not like a formula. It's not like, in a way it kind of is, like, but like there are different ways this can work for people. And it takes to pull in like the failure, and like it just takes trying different things.
Yeah.
And it's okay
learning
to try different things, like what works for you.
Yeah. And I think, for me, through my thing, and like I'm a person who enjoys writing. And so over the course of the last, 5 years, I've written quite a bit.
Yeah.
And I go back and I read notes that I had written early on in the process, or even before this, where, I talk about like, I'm going to do this thing. And it is really cool to go back and read those things because, to me, when I think of, because I think we can end the show today on, if you could give a person some advice on like, if they want to make a change, like what would that be? And I look back and I see myself doing it. It's really cool to see that. So I'll ask you first so I can have a second to like think about that. But if you had somebody who was like, hey, I want to start running, or, I want to start eating healthier, or, fill in the blank. they have something that they want. How would you help them turn that into something that is something that they can actually achieve?
Well, and I think you touched on it, like immersing yourself, like, find some like content creators that, you kind of like look up to that maybe talk about things like that. Like get excited about it, like find I think that's it. Like find ways to get excited. And like you said, you go back and you read what you've written, and I think that even in itself is so fun. Like write some things down and know in however much time, it could even be like in a month, like you'll have that to go back to look back on, which is really, really cool. And I would say like just find ways to make it fun.
Yeah,
you.
I think, man, that's better than even what I was gonna say. Because like as you'll see, like I'm a very passionate person, and through that passion comes from a sense of like playfulness and fun. And I think I'm not one to take myself too seriously. Like I'm certainly prone to all the same things that everybody else is. But like at the end of the day, like I want to have a good time. Like I want to be playful and fun. And the long-term sustainability of something does need to be like that. That does need to be a part of it. It does need to be fun.
And like it's not going to be fun always. Like running that first mile or two is not going to be fun. But if it's like listening to your favorite comedian, or if it's wearing an outfit or a color that you wouldn't have normally worn before, like find ways. And it's make it really applicable to you.
Yeah, I would say hard things can also be fun.
Yeah, for sure.
So just to say that it's fun or enjoyable doesn't mean that I mean that it is easy.
Right.
By all means, there's lots of stuff that is extremely hard that you're just going to have to do. But it is finding the little tiny bits of that can be moments of fun, or just a little sprinkling across the top as you go through, and can make those things enjoyable.
Yeah.
For me, I would say the thing that I find most impactful is whatever the thing is that you're wanting to do. You're going to have a part of that is the reason why you don't do it now. Mm-hmm. And so like if you're eating healthier, you're going to have to figure out how to buy healthy food, or how to, meal prep or plan your week or whatever. Or if you're going to run, how are you going to fit that into your schedule, and how are you going to wake up early, and et cetera.
And even if it's not something we're really sticking to like healthy lifestyle things, but even, which I think is great, but even if it's like journaling.
Yeah. I want to write a book.
Yeah. And or write something that you think is fun. Like, I don't know, like there's so many ways like you can, I mean, again, we've kind of stuck to like the more healthier lifestyle things, but like that is definitely not what like you have to stick to.
Right. Well, with the business, for me, and I'll kind of bring this home, but the thing for me right now that I have to figure out that I don't know how to do is like I'm not a marketing professional. My job is in technology.
Yeah.
And so I feel very comfortable with the development and the product design and all that side of the business, but I don't have the professional background of a marketer. And I don't need to be Steve Jobs, but I do need to be able to be serviceable in that. And so for me, like what that looks like is what does a marketer know how to do? What are the things that they spend their time learning about? What are things that if I would have gone to school for marketing that I would have like gone through and learned? And so what I would suggest, like the answer to my question of like how would I advise you to start the thing, is look at what do I need to do in the day-to-day to make that happen? Like identify what that activity is that is the hard part of what you need to do, and then find people that are doing that and learn from them. there are, I mean, and that's the beauty of the, the internet today is like there are no shortage of people that are doing the thing out in public across all the different places that you can find, podcasts and videos and stuff. Like it's out there. Like there are absolutely people doing it. So find them and you'll probably find a handful of really entertaining versions of this. And then learn okay. So I know that I need to wake up and run every single morning if I want to fill in the blank goal. I need to watch people who are doing that. And I need to see that it's possible. I need my brain to stop fighting that because they also want to sleep in. I want to sleep in, but I have to be able to wake up and do it. And so seeing people emulate that and live that out helps you realize okay, I can learn this. I can do this. And then just you keep compounding that belief through your own repetitions at it, but then also just continue to just try to drill that into your skull because here's the thing, we're humans and we want to be entertained, and there's all kinds of things that you can just scroll through on your phone and use your phone as a pacifier. Take a little bit of that and use that for something good. So, scroll past the stuff that's just junk and stop and watch the video of the thing that is the thing that you want. And basically teach your algorithm hey, this is the stuff that I care about and that I want. And algorithm will figure it out. Algorithm, very smart. Algorithm will help you spend time doing whatever it is that it thinks that you want. And so, find people who are finding joy in the day-to-day grind of what it is that you want to achieve. And start following those people and learn from them.
And I'll say the fun part is with the business has been getting some fun merch, easy, fun stickers, and it brought us some joy.
I don't know. So you need people to buy running merch if they want to be a runner.
Well, yeah, buy that running headband, buy those running socks,
retail therapy. Katie's advice is retail therapy.
Hey, you know what? Real life here. Yeah. It works.
All right. So if you would like to email us any questions or anything like that, you can email us at that's bravely.dev. This is a different thing. You can email us at buildhorizons.com. And if you have any questions, topics, or anything else, just want to say hello, we would love to hear from you.
Yeah.
And with that, we're going to turn it over to Katy, who has spent a lot of time. This is going to be fantastic. Absolutely. 10 out of 10 sign off. Katy, hit it.
Thanks for building with us, and we are cheering you on.
Wow. That's it. That's the one for sure.